Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform, our platform to become your spiritual server. And welcome to the daily reading for today, Thursday, September the 20th of 2018. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I apologize. I missed the Wednesday reading. I allowed dark negative energy to sap me and deter me from making the video. I do apologize. It happens, but I have to do better at pushing through. That being said, I just need a little bit of time to just kind of work through what had happened the day before, and the day before wasn't even bad, honestly. Tuesday was actually a great day. There was just a moment in the day that kind of robbed me of my energy, and it wasn't even the other person's fault. It wasn't my fault. It was this energy that was riding behind that event, and it just robbed both of us and brought us both down. So, but what is in the past is in the past. Today is Thursday, September 20th. And yeah, today's a very interesting day. It's funny. I'm looking here at the astrology and stuff for the day, and of course you can see for the cards we have the 8 of Pentacles and the 5 of Pentacles, and these are sponsored by the sacred geometry vibration of Gaia. And I'll read what that means in just a moment. But this is why I love astrology, guys, because when you look at these transits and you look at when certain things apex, and you look at all of the other energies, and if you go into the future and you bring some of these energies back to where they were, and I'm thinking particularly the moon, you'll see how things really begin to line up, and you'll begin to see this beautiful cosmic story that's being just unraveled here, and it is quite frankly just very beautiful, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. I hope you are too. But anyways, let me explain exactly what the hell I'm talking about. So like I said, card-wise, we have the 8 of Pentacles and the 5 of Pentacles. They seem kind of diametrically opposed. Now, 8 of Pentacles is talking about hard work, committing yourself, dedication to one's craft. But then the 5 of Pentacles is feeling like you kind of have the shaft, like you've gotten a bad hand. You're outside of the church building. You have a broken leg. You have a peg leg. You have some type of sickness. You feel lack. You feel outside of abundance. Whereas 8 of Pentacles is about building that abundance, right? But it's interesting how we have the card of Gaia backing these up. So this is a very earthy day. We have the frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. So even just considering this fact, the fact that Gaia comes up, it kind of brings this 5 of Pentacles card as null and void. Now I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in the thumbnail, but what I like about this 5 of Pentacles card is that it shows this individual who is sulking, and she has her head in her knees, but there's a beautiful butterfly that's kind of entered into her orb of influence, and she doesn't see it, but the butterfly there is actually speaking to this individual, this soul, this being, to transform the way that they see their experience, to transform their perception on how things are going, to beautify it, really. And then you have this 8 of Pentacles energy, which is talking about building upon a structure, working on one's craft, building towards something. And this is beautiful because it's like there are moments where all of us feel like we have been left out. You know, that moment where like you're in gym class or you're at recess when you're a kid and everyone gets picked before you. That's happened to all of us at least once. Even the jocks, it's probably happened to them at once with some type of sport, because you're not good at everything, right? But it's like you get picked last, or you get picked one of the last, and it's always like, yeah, you made it on the team, but it's not. It's like it's almost like no one really wanted you because you didn't go in the first round, second round, or third round. And sometimes we feel like that. Sometimes we feel like in life that we just don't get picked up as early as we would like. But everyone has their own pace. You know, sometimes you have a slower start. So for any of you out there that feel like you have been working hard on something, but you're not really getting the recognition that you want, you feel like you're on the outside looking in, and I even feel this to some degree to myself. Know that everything in divine time is going to work out, and you're not alone. You're not on the outside looking in. You are intricately connected to each and every one of us, each and every being here, each and everything you see here in the universe that did birth us all, the multiverse that we are a part of. So you technically can't be left out. You can't, because you are intricately connected. Now, it may not be your time to achieve that particular level or that whatever it is that you're going for. You know, it may not just be the right time, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay, you know. It's going to be more of a sport reference, but there have been great sport players that never got picked up in the draft, that walked on, and they end up having very illustrious careers. You know, this is that whole thing of like, you know, J.K. Rowling was working so hard and she got denied like what, 17, 19, almost 20 times before someone picked her up. And now look at Harry Potter and all of the energy that Harry Potter has created in the world, all of the abundance that franchise has created. But if she had allowed herself to stay in that miserable state, she would have never realized her potential. And I think that's really what today is about. It's about, you can stay in that miserable state, you know, and there's nothing wrong with sulking and being upset. In fact, a lot of the cards that I've drawn for this week have been about, you know, embracing these more disappointed times, but also learning to not allow that to become our reality, to not allow that to become our default. Because when that becomes your default setting, you're setting yourself up for ruin. You're setting yourself up for this delusion that you aren't abundant and that you aren't a part of something grand, that you aren't a part of something divine and beautiful and inclusive. Right? Now, astrologically, I think it's interesting because we do have the moon in Aquarius, and it's going to, in order from these transits, it's going to conjunct Mars at 2 degrees. It'll conjunct the south node at 4 degrees and oppose the north node at 4 degrees. It's going to square over to Venus at 6 degrees. And that square over to Venus is really the last major transit that the moon really makes on this day. And with the moon being in Aquarius, this is actually going to bring a level of emotional detachment. And I actually think this is actually pretty positive, because I think it's been a pretty emotional week. You know, with the moon having been in Capricorn for the first part of the week, being triggered, of course, by Pluto, by Saturn, and just generally not wanting to be there. We've been triggered as far as like wanting, you know, we have to make certain decisions, and we're being asked to trying to move in a certain way, but there's been so much energy that is so, you just don't really know what's going to happen. And then we're being asked if we have a plan, and we're just like, how am I going to have a plan when there's so much up in the air? Or at least it feels that way, right? So this energy can be kind of, it's been like hard on our nervous system because we've been trying to figure out what to do. But now that the moon is in Aquarius, it ironically is helping, even though it's coming over Mars and the south node. After it passes the south node, I would argue to say, in that when it makes the square over to Venus, which is not going to be necessarily the easiest either, but I feel like it starts to actually get a little bit easier as the week goes on. The moon prefers not to be in Scorpio, and that's where Venus is right now, but that's 6 degrees, and 6 is a number of wanting to see balance and harmony, being a peacekeeper, and that's naturally what Venus wants to be. So even though neither of these signs particularly want to be in Scorpio, Venus doesn't really mind being in Aquarius, and the moon doesn't really mind being here either. The moon is a little bit emotionally detached, but that can actually help the moon in some cases. But the main transit of the day is the fact that the Sun-Mercury conjunction does come to its apex. And this will be at 28 degrees. And they're at Virgo. They're getting towards the tail end of Virgo. So this is going to bring another level of sensitivity. And this is also going to bring about a manifestation point where we actually synchronize our mind and communication with Mercury and our hearts and our passion and joy with the sun, that which we are aware of and that's what we want to illuminate. We're going to make this synchronicity between our mind and our heart on our day-to-day reality and what we want to really bring forth into this world. The reason why I think that this conjunction is so powerful, one, of course, you know, Mercury is it likes to be in Virgo, right? But it's very much so concerned about the facts and details. It's so interesting how we have so much energy about the facts and the details, trying to have a plan, but there's also this opposing energy where it's like things are all up in the air. You know, Chiron's heading back into Pisces, right? You know, Venus would prefer not to be in Scorpio, right? We still have Pluto retrograde. We have Uranus in Taurus, which it would prefer not to be in. So there's still a lot of, you have the South Node in Aquarius too. So it's like there's even this push to like try and have some sort of conformity. But what's interesting about the Sun-Mercury conjunction is where the moon will be afterwards. This is going to be a little bit longer of a daily reading, so I hope you guys bear with me here. But the moon at this time of the Sun-Mercury conjunction will be at 12 degrees. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, right? But I wanted to actually read in this book that I have, which is Inside the Degrees by Elias Lonsdale, and I've mentioned this multiple times. And I want to read to you all 12 degrees of Aquarius, because I really think this is super important. I think it's very, very applicable. So let me go ahead and read this for you all. 12 degrees of Aquarius. This is where the moon will be at the time of the Sun-Mercury conjunction. So when the Sun and Mercury conjunct, when our heart and our mind comes together, this is how we're going to be feeling, okay? It says, a heated argument turns into laughter. Tension and release, contraction and expansion. The breath of the mind resolving its dualities. In order to make it possible for radical truths and significant realizations to come through, you must first karmically dramatize inside the ego mind and outside as well the unbearable tension between opposing points of view. You enter upon disputes, advocate positions, set up heroes and villains, and then when your whole inner and outer world is packed with dilemmas, problems, arguments, and battles, you become ready to seek out synthesis, to enter upon the cycle of restoring wholeness. During your experimental years, spice means everything, but during your maturity, there is no further mileage to be had in turning anything against anything else. Getting it that you make it all up in the first place, that the rational mind delights in controversy but has its limits. When resolution comes, everything looks different. All of life turns around, and most particularly, your relation to yourself changes from the critic to the friend and respectful ally of your own inward intentions. Isn't that beautiful? That's where the moon's going to be. It's going to be like we are taking this whole, you know, me versus them mentality, and we are transforming the way that we look at it emotionally. And the fact that this is happening, of course, in the sign of Aquarius, which is about the people, the South Node is here, and Mars is now here, and it's going to be at 12 degrees. And this is interesting because the next time that the moon hits 12 degrees, Mars will be out of shadow. In fact, Mars will reach 12 degrees, and the moon will conjunct Mars at 13 degrees, which means that we actually emotionally take the next step. When this is like I'm saying, like, so when the Sun and Mercury conjunct, the moon will be at 12 degrees. When Mars reaches 12 degrees, guess where Mercury will be? It will be conjunct Venus retrograde at 8 degrees of Scorpio. You can't make this up, guys. This is going to be a very unique opportunity today, where we get this serious glimpse into the future of we can actually resolve a lot of these outstanding feuds, a lot of this dramatization that we have perpetuated in our mind, you know. And we are being given an opportunity to take an action that is an alternative step to what we have done in the past, to where before we may have substantiated continuing this drama, or we can step into a new. And the interesting thing about it is that it will come down to a decision. So some people are going to choose to continue the old story. Some people are going to choose to step into a new story. Because Mercury, the mind, where's it going to be? In Scorpio. So we're already going to be thinking very deeply about things, right? And Venus is going to be going backwards. It's going to be retrograding. It's going to meet Mercury conjunct the next time that the moon is in Aquarius. Mars will be out of shadow, which means it'll be happy. It'll be in new territory. Are you going to embrace how you are intricately connected to everything? Now, I know that may seem hard or difficult because everything seems so vast and so infinite. And that infinity can be scary at times. But what today is really showing us is that with this Sun-Mercury conjunction at 28 degrees of Virgo, with the 8 of Pentacles and the 5 of Pentacles in Gaia, not only that, but let's just look at the numbers. 8 plus 5 is 13, plus 28 is 41. 4 plus 1 is 5, and 5 is the number of freedom. So you actually have the freedom to choose your path. You actually have the freedom to choose how to act. You actually do. Now, I do believe in an element of free will, but I also do believe in fate, because I believe this has all happened before. I believe that we are living life forward and backwards at the same time. I believe that we are in a buffer zone here in the third dimension, where things take time to load or upload, you know, and it's like like I said, we're living it forwards and backwards at the same time. This is going to be a super powerful day where you have this great opportunity to manifest a new adventure for yourself, and to really realize that, you know, this world drama that we are living, you know, you actually have the power to choose who you play within this drama. Are you going to play the individual that seeks to take from everyone, to take, or are you going to be a giver? And that's not to say that you don't want to receive. It's interesting because when I'm saying giver, I mean give of yourself, give of your authentic self, so that when the universe wants to give you something, you do receive it with open arms. You receive it with gratitude. You receive it. You know, a lot of light workers are very much so giving, but it's hard for light workers to receive sometimes. And that's because a lot of light workers aren't necessarily the most authentic people. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. It's because they have good intentions, but they also try to perpetuate this perfection. And, you know, that's not what this is about. This is about accepting yourself for who you are and really moving forward into a new reality. We are really seriously manifesting that. And I think it's even more interesting that this Gaia card, the numbers 28 on the card, and the Sun and Mercury are the apex of their conjunction is 28. So if you did not think that we are infinitely connected to Source and to everything, to Mother Gaia, well, yeah, you're definitely going to get confirmation that that is true today. That is it for this video. I know it's a little bit longer than usual, but I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to the AquarianAdepts.com. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.